What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here with a little bit of SAT prep. We got loads of it coming at you in this video. Tons of problems back to back to back. It's gonna be dope, man. Let's get after it. So the figure above shows the complete graph of the function f in the xy plane. Now the function g of x is not shown, but it's defined as f of x plus 6. What's the maximum value of that g of x function? Well, I can see on my graph here that my max value of that f of x function is right there. It is 2. Now, if g of x equals f of x plus 6, this plus 6 right here, that moves the graph up 6. Vertical transformations are on the outside of the function. Horizontal ones are on the inside of the function. So if I'm just moving this graph up 6, pretty simple, add 6 to 2, I get 8. That is my maximum value of that g of x function. That is super dang dope. Now, what is the volume in cubic centimeters of a right rectangular prism, like we see here, that has a length of 4 centimeters, a width of 9 centimeters, and a height of 10 centimeters? Well, let's go ahead and just label this bad boy right now. So how do I find the volume of my right rectangular prism? I'm just going to multiply my length, my width, and my height together. But since it's non-calc, you want to be strategic about which two numbers you multiply first. I'm going to take that 4 and that 9, which gives me 36, and it's real easy to multiply by 10. That gives me 360 centimeters cubed. Since this is volume, woo, that's dope. And what is the set of all solutions to the equation square root of x plus 2 equals negative x? Now, if I wanted to solve this thing outright, I would just square both sides, then solve for x, and I'd have to plug those solutions back into the original equation to check for extraneous solutions. Since I have to plug back in anyways, why don't I just take the answers that I have here and see what happens? All right, so if I plug in negative 1, I'm going to have negative 1 plus 2 gives me the square root of 1, which equals 1. And over here, I would have negative and then negative 1 in for x. That's going to give me a positive 1. So boom, that one works, right? My negative 1 would work. How about 2? That's my only other option here, right? Well, if I plug 2 in, I'm going to have the square root of 4, which equals 2. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to have negative 2. Well, I know for sure that negative 2 does not equal positive 2, so that ain't going to work. So my only answer here is going to be B. Boom, diggity. That's it. We're done, dogs. So the graph of the function f in the xy plane above is a parabola. I love me some parabolas, bro. I love parabolas. I live for them. All right, which of the following defines f? Well, all these equations here are in vertex form. So let's jot down that vertex form with our variables. Now, the h and the k in this equation here are the coordinates of my vertex, which in this case is 3, 1. So let's go ahead and substitute those bad boys into this equation here, and we're almost done. So now I just need to figure out what my a value is, and we can use the other ordered pairs here to do that. So normally in my normal basic quadratic, my basic parabola, it's up 1 over 1, up 3 over 1. But if my first jump here, which we see is up 4 over 1, now that a value is going to be a 4. If it was up 2 over 1, that a value would be a 2. So let's take a look at our choices here. I got choice A coming at you. That's awesome. That's dope. We're done. Deuces, dogs. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression above for x greater than 0? Well, what's that x greater than 0 mean? That just means that x is positive. Now, if I want to put these two together into one single fraction, I got to get a common denominator over here. Currently, this is sitting over 1, so I'm going to multiply it by that 2x plus 1, both numerator and denominator. So what I need to do is distribute this 5 into both of these, giving me 10x plus 5. Now I can combine my like terms. I'm going to get 10x plus 6, and I don't even need to write that denominator down. I'm gonna look for that bad boy up there. It's choice D. That's dope. That's awesome. Deuces, dogs. See you later. A system of 3 equations is graphed in the xy plane above. Oh man, 3 equations, bro? Dang, that's dope. How many solutions does the system have? Now, since this is a system of 3 equations, all 3 equations need to intersect to be a solution to that system of 3 equations, not just 2 of them. So do all 3 equations ever meet at one single point? Do they all 3 intersect at one single point? Yes, it's happening at negative 1, 3 right there on the graph, which means that there is one solution. Our choice is B. Boom, diggity. That is dope. The equation above is true for all x, where a and b are constants. Remember, constants are just numbers. What is the value of a times b? Now, most likely, I'm going to need to solve for a and b individually and then multiply them together at the end. Solving for a is pretty easy. I've got this guy right here times this guy right here is going to give me this guy right here. That's the only way to get it. So what times 5 is going to give me 20 for that lead coefficient? A is going to have to equal 4. Boom, halfway there, right? Slow down, slow down. Now I got to solve for b. There's two ways that I can see going about solving for b. I can either use the result of my quadratic term or my linear term here. Your choice. I'll go with the linear term. So the way I'm going to get that is 3 times negative bx, but I'm also going to have this ax times 4 and combine those to get my linear term. Let me write that up. Now I know my a is 4, and I'm also not really worried about these x's here. I'm just worried about the coefficients. So I'm going to drop my x's and substitute 4 in for a. Now we're just going to solve this linear equation, essentially, for b. I've got 6, I've got 4. What's the product of those two bad boys right there? That is 24. My answer is C. That's dope. That's awesome. See you guys later. What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here with a little SAT prep non-calc. Which of the following represents all possible values of x that satisfy the equation above? Well, bro, I got two fractions equal to each other. I'm just going to cross multiply and solve this bad boy. Let's get it. I'm going to distribute the 2x into my binomial right here. Oh, man. I got myself a quadratic equation. I'm going to set this thing equal to 0. All right, just two terms here. So I'm going to use GCF when I'm factoring to solve this bad boy. If I set each factor equal to 0, I'm going to have 2x equals 0. So here I'm going to get x equals 0 because 0 divided by 2 is just 0. And on this one, I'm going to get x equals positive 4. Now, we got to take a look at our original here to make sure that we don't get a 0 in the denominator. Here I'd get negative 3, and here I would get positive 1. They're both cool with me, so it looks like our answer here is B. Woo! Woo! That's awesome.